Awesome, guys. Congratulations on getting through the secret formula. That is amazing. That's insane. I'm so excited for you. And there's so much more amazing gold to come. So here we are transitioning into our next phase, and we're going to expand just a little bit more on the secret formula before we actually move over to looking at applying it. And also, one really cool trick you can use right now based on what you just did to take the secret formula to a whole nother level. This is something I didn't discover for a couple of years, and once I discovered it, it was really powerful. So we'll get to that in just a minute, but I want to go through just a little bit of the text, because what Hill does here is he breaks down a whole ton of people, and they all they talk about how amazing this formula is, how it's changed their lives. But one thing he really points out is the need for a desire and a plan to appear, but not necessarily, labor, right? This plan that you've created, these goals that you've created, they don't necessarily desire hard labor. It's all about thinking and using that thought to grow rich by moving forward with your action plan in any way possible. For a lot of people, that is you. For me, it's a ton of work. But you also have to remember, right? Does it make sense to involve other people in this plan? Does it make sense to work with them? Would it make more sense if everyone was going together to grow as a team? I'll get on the computer and I'll show you what I mean. So let's say you want to build, this giant company that it prints out medical documents. Yeah, let's say you want to print out medical documents. I mean, like, if you're the only person there, it's gonna be a little bit lonely, and it's tough to print out, if you're doing an industrial scale medical documents, you got stuff everywhere, you're trying to print out stuff all over the place to serve more people, right? If you want to serve tons of people, if you want to go out into the marketplace and serve hundreds and hundreds of hospitals, all of a sudden you're just one person, right? So it's really difficult to get out there, sell everybody, fulfill on everyone. If these are all hospitals and you're just one guy, it's really tough. So when you work towards your overarching long-term goals, I want you guys to think, just as a perspective shift, who else would we need, or who else could you use to expand your vision? Because there's something very powerful about the secret formula, and that power comes from the ability to focus on anything that's related to your goal, which is just insanely powerful. Because when you do is you put your mindset in this space of total and complete mental clarity, where if you see something and that something is something that can bring you closer to your long-term goal, you can immediately take action on it and grow with it. So going back to our example in the medical space, if you see that a super big medical firm went out of business and all these people need jobs and they're very well trained in medical documentation, you could swoop those guys up, bring them onto your team, support their families, help them come back, and then also grow and work towards your long-term goal. And that's really powerful. And the same thing happens when you're just looking at normal opportunities. Maybe you see something, not necessarily people, but maybe you see an idea in the marketplace. You see somebody comes out with this insane new technology, and all of a sudden it makes sense to implement that into whatever your plan is to get to your long-term goal. That's a really powerful place to be in, and it all comes from having the clarity that you know exactly what you want to accomplish, and you know the action plans that you're going to take to get there. It's like, I think a really good example I heard was if you're walking through a room and it's dark, dark room, and you can't see anything, you can just sort of like feel things, and you know that you're here and there's a big chair over here, and you want to get to this big chair, but in between you and the chair there are marbles on the floor, maybe there are smaller chairs on the floor, maybe there are people in the way. And when you set your goal, right, you're creating this end. You're creating the end in mind so that you can go through your little maze and you can go over the marbles, you can go around the people, and you might temporarily go off course. You might have to move around people, chairs, just to get there. But eventually, you know that end goal is what drags you to success, is what brings you to that final point of, you know, enriching your life and essentially changing everything, all because you're able to navigate through the system and go around the obstacles while still remembering exactly where you're trying to go in the end. Rather than, you know, if you didn't have your end in mind, if you didn't have your secret formula, if you didn't know why you were trying to get to the end of the room, you might just get distracted and stop here. Or maybe slip on a marble and just not worry about it. Or maybe just sit down in this chair and not go all the way to that secret chair at the end. Because you don't have it set in stone, you can just settle for a lot less and, unfortunately, cut off progress. So that's why it's so important to create these goals and to stick with them. Because not only will they inspire you to say, hey, look, I know there's this awesome chair at the end and I have to go all the way to get it, but at the same time, it's going to allow you to just completely ignore or bypass a lot of the things that are just distractions in the way, because you know that there's a bigger and better thing for you to do. And it's really important, you know, it's tougher when you're starting out, but once you start to grow and once you start to prosper, it's super important to be able to say no to things, because you want to say yes to get long-term goal. And that clarity, that discipline, that all comes from having your secret formula. So with this next part of this video is only for people that have finished creating the secret formula. So please go back, create your secret formula if you haven't created your secret formula, and then come back, because this next part you do need your secret formula. Okay, awesome. So you've got it. There's this one little additional trick that is very powerful, and it's super important. It's going to help you stick with your business, pioneer the present, be like all these amazing people in history that have never apologized, to go out there and crush it, which is so amazing, because it lets you put your dreams out there and it lets you do it. And this one last thing is a constant reminder of your passion, of what you want to do. And that's super important, because you always, you know, you're doing your goals, you're reading your goal statement once in the morning and once at night, and that's really cool. But there's this one last thing that brings it into the physical. Unless you want to like write it out every day in the morning and at night, which is totally awesome thing to do. You could do that, but this is another way to bring it into the physical. And what you do is you get a check, okay? And for the date, you put the deadline for your goal, okay? Then what you do is you write in, you know, pay to the order of, you write in the amount of money that you desire. And then you put it in the box over here. And then you do something really powerful, is you make a commitment to yourself that you will have the money that you desire by this date. And you know as a person why it'll happen, because you have your goal statement, you have your action plan statement, you have what you're going to exchange for the money, that statement, which is super powerful. That's the course of action that you're going to take to actually fulfill this desire, create this cash, manifest it by that date. So you write it down, you put it in ink, and then you go and you sign it. Now, this is so important, because this is your goal. Now, what I really would recommend doing, and it's just amazingly powerful thing, is put it in your wallet and bring it everywhere you go until you hit your deadline. Once you get your goal, once you achieve it, because it's a constant reminder to focus on exactly what you want in your life. So take it, put it in your wallet. I like to put it on the little window part of mine, which is really cool, but just put it somewhere where it's always around you, and no matter what, you're gonna be there looking at that goal statement, looking at the physical manifestation, reading it in the morning, reading it at night. Now all of a sudden, it's not so crazy that you could have this amount of money, which should be a lot for you. It should be a big stretch. It should be, this is my goal. I will grow as a person to get here. That amount of cash is now more reasonable because look, it's just sitting in your wallet. It's a check. It's right there. And it's going to be redeemable on that date. Write the check to yourself and believe so wholeheartedly in your goal and yourself that you know this is reality, this is happening, this is my goal. I will give so much value to the marketplace. I know this is how we do it. And that's when you're going to start to really realize that, hey, you know what? I can desire this much money. This is part of me. This will happen. You have a total and complete conviction and belief in yourself, and that's when your action starts to shift. Your world starts to change because you're aligning yourself with your long-term goals and creating surreal results in the marketplace because of it. Very, very, very powerful action step right here. This check is a huge, huge motivator for me, and it always goes with my wallet. It's just an amazing, amazing, amazing thing to do. So hey guys, take this, apply it, and I'll see you in the next module. Thank you so much.